Wanya back inside the wrestling basement, coming at you with 3 superstars that could potentially go against Drew McIntyre at the Summerslam pay-per-view for his WWE Championship. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. The first superstar that I could potentially see go against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam will have to go to Kevin Owens. Now, out of these 3 superstars, Kevin Owens more than likely would be the least likely to win against Drew McIntyre. Like, I vaguely remember a one-on-one or at least 6-man tag team action between these 2 superstars. Like, I have no memory of Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre crossing paths in the past, but you know, Kevin Owens right now, even though he's involved in this Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins storyline, he ain't really done that just huge lately. Even though he got that big victory over Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, like lately he ain't really been in the championship like contention. Like they really ain't put him into no type of championship storylines. Like, but he's definitely credible as far as like world championship because he is one of the very first Universal Champions, and that pretty much look good on anybody's record. So him going against Drew McIntyre for a WWE Championship at SummerSlam, like, it's definitely a 5-star match, and it's definitely a match that we can all agree that will definitely be a sold-out event, you know, a main event that if the fans weren't in the arena, that would definitely be a 5-star match that would definitely be sold out. Because, you know, just think, you got Drew McIntyre on one side, which as like size difference, it's a huge size difference, but we all know Kevin Owens to be some of the greatest superstars, so I can see Kevin Owens stunning Drew McIntyre and getting a huge pop. He stunned Drew McIntyre and get the 1, 2, 3 with a jam-packed arena. Man, it would be KO Mania all over again. Personally, and you know, in my honest opinion, if the fans was in the arena, we had a jam-packed crowd, and Kevin Owens versus Drew McIntyre SummerSlam main event. If Kevin Owens was to defeat Drew McIntyre for a WWE champion, which Kevin Owens has never held the WWE champion, only Universal and NXT and many other, you know, mid-card championships. If he was to defeat Drew McIntyre, he would be so over in the WWE, specifically on Monday Night Raw. But more than likely, if they do decide to go with Kevin Owens, which this is really like a very, very, very like Powerball type of situation as far as Kevin Owens being the man to challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE champion. If they was to go this route at SummerSlam, more than likely Drew McIntyre would defeat Kevin Owens, and of course this babyface versus babyface. And you know, next night on Monday Night Raw, I can see Kevin Owens coming out there saying that Drew McIntyre was the better man, the best man in the championship match, and they'll more than likely put them in like a tag team match the next night following on Monday Night Raw, which could potentially lead to a Kevin Owens heel turn. But like I said, the first person I'm going to have to put on this list will definitely have to be Kevin Owens because, hey, he's credible at the end of the day, and he could very well defeat, you know, Drew McIntyre for a WWE Championship. That's just in my opinion. The second man I would have to say that will, you know, fit perfectly as far as Drew McIntyre WWE Championship main event scene at SummerSlam will have to go to the Monday Night Messiah. Now, recently, we done seen what Drew McIntyre has been on. He been beating, you know, bad guys. He beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. He recently beat Dolph Ziggler at this last pay-per-view, and he also have an up-and-coming WWE Championship match against Dolph Ziggler, which he's more than likely is going to win. So, Drew McIntyre is really the biggest babyface in WWE as far as, like, world champion. So, if we was to get the pairing between Drew McIntyre, which is the biggest babyface right now, and Seth Rollins, which we know he pretty much then ended this rivalry with Rey Mysterio. You know, the eye for an eye match was really the conclusion to the storyline. We seen Seth Rollins completely juggernaut this whole storyline, and if we could just go back to Seth Rollins' first turn as far as this Monday Night Messiah gig, just go back through memory lane. Do you remember the Monday Night Raw that Seth Rollins came out there and addressed the Raw roster after Survivor Series? Like, when he had on the all black, he had the black leather jacket. I don't think he had the black glove then, but nobody could have ever predicted that we would get Seth Rollins turning to this. This Monday Night Messiah gig that they got going, this shit is golden. Like, Like I said, when he called out the whole roster that night on Monday Night Raw, nobody seen this coming, and he'd have had many allies join him, up until this point. He'd have had the Authors of Pain, Buddy Murphy, Austin Theory. Even though Buddy Murphy is the sole survival disciple of Seth Rollins, like, Seth Rollins could potentially defeat Drew McIntyre. If nobody else in WWE can defeat Drew McIntyre right now, red hot as he is right now, I would definitely bet my money with Seth Rollins. Besides somebody like Roman Reigns, it's certain superstars in WWE that they just not finna let them look bad under no circumstance. And the Shield, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, those superstars are not finna look bad in no way, shape, or form. If they was to go with this match between Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre would not just defeat Seth Rollins in no convincing fashion. It ain't gonna be none of that. It ain't gonna be no one Claymore kick and Seth Rollins is over. You gotta hit Seth Rollins by 5 Claymore kicks. He still might kick out. You gonna have to barely defeat Seth Rollins. So with Seth Rollins being the best heel right now in the WWE, red hot as he is right now, Seth Rollins got so much, steam behind him. Like I said, following this Rey Mysterio storyline, if Seth Rollins was to go against Drew McIntyre, I would definitely bet my money on Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is the man that can do it. And he can really, drop Buddy Murphy. Because Buddy Murphy, he really ain't adding to Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins did better as far as like his disciples when we had the Authors of Pain. I just knew when Seth Rollins had the Authors of Pain by his side, that's when he was going to become the WWE champion. But like I said, looking back to when this all started, to that historical night of Monday Night Raw, all the way up until today, Seth Rollins is at his best right now as far as like his heel turn. This heel turn in 2020 is better than the Shield heel turn Seth Rollins. Because back then, he kind of took like all the cowardly ways out. But now, this Seth Rollins here is not here. He's not here to play. And, I could definitely see Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. But, again, with Drew McIntyre being the juggernaut heel, and that's the superstar they're pushing on Monday Night Raw, the top babyface, I can definitely see Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, and Drew McIntyre just barely get past Seth Rollins and retain the WWE champion. And you gotta know, if this was to happen, the next night on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins will not come out there and say Drew McIntyre was the best man. And you gotta also go back to the fact that at that last Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we seen what Drew McIntyre did to Seth Rollins when he defeated him then, and that pretty much, set off a trigger in Seth Rollins' mind. So Seth Rollins definitely wouldn't lose a second time to Drew McIntyre. At least that one look good, like storyline wise. So, like I said, if they was to go this route, the next night on Monday Night Raw, Drew McIntyre would definitely be getting his ass beat to sleep by Seth Rollins, and he down there might take his eye like he did Rey Mysterio. So the second man I would definitely have to say we could potentially see go against Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam will have to go to the Monday Night Messiah, the self-proclaimed leader of Monday Night Raw. And just another little side note to this storyline that we could potentially see between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Seth Rollins can't be the Monday Night Messiah, Monday Night Raw, without the crown of Monday Night Raw. So Seth Rollins eventually going to have to get the WWE champion off of Drew McIntyre, or whoever the WWE champion at that moment. So we could potentially see that storyline between those two superstars coming up. And the third man that we could potentially see go against Drew McIntyre for the WWE champion at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, it would have to go to the Viper, Randy Orton. Now, we done all seen Randy Orton. He just evolved over time. Randy Orton, we all done watched the 24/7 thing, the little documentary on the WWE Network. We just seen how a lot of people have, pretty much confirmed that Randy Orton, his younger days, he wasn't, as mature, and he didn't really take the business as serious. But I kid you not, every time I see Randy Orton, it's never a dull moment. From the storyline with Edge, he pretty much decimated Edge. And when you listen to these promos that these superstars do, most of the promos and storylines be meaningless. But Randy Orton is so great. Randy Orton, I'm going to tell y'all something funny. Randy Orton is such a great superstar that yesterday, I started to go on his Instagram and tell him that he needed wrestling school. Like, Randy Orton is the all-time greatest heel. Randy Orton is such a great heel superstar that you start to question, is this dude really like this in real life? Randy Orton's storyline with Edge, he really justified why he beat Edge up like he did. And it was a great justification. Like, He made it so believable. Randy Orton, he done ran through Edge, he done ran through Christian, and just recently, this past Monday night on Raw, he done ran through the Big Show. It's really not that many more legends left for Randy Orton to get a hold to. Randy Orton, in my opinion, need another World Championship run because he don't got that many more years left in the tank as far as like being a full-time superstar. And, you know, of course, he don't be there every single week, but if he's the WWE champion, he's got to be there more often than none. So if Randy Orton, if they do take this time to capitalize on the Randy Orton, you know, heat and, you know, the momentum he got now defeating all three of those legends, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Come in.
Randy Orton got 5 more years to do that shit, man.
You think so?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to see about that. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. Man, that's already, you know, the rumor playing, you know, going around the WWE community. And me personally, I honestly won't mind seeing that. But like all three of these superstars, I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm not saying Drew McIntyre's not a great champion, but I feel as though, you know, us as the WWE community not being there, you know, making all the noise and them feeding off our energy, I feel as though they play a huge factor as being champion right now because Drew McIntyre run right now to me is boring. He's not boring. He don't have a bad moveset. You know, he got the look, the physique. Drew McIntyre got the full package as far as, you know, being the WWE champion, but it plays a big part of, you know, there not being the audience, you know, there to enjoy and cheer him on. So I honestly won't mind change right now. I honestly won't mind seeing Braun Strowman lose his championship. Like, I love to see world champions lose and get it back. Drew McIntyre is a one-time WWE champion. Ric Flair didn't get 16 world championships just by winning 24/7. He did a lot of flipping and recycling that championship. So in order for Drew McIntyre to become a 13-time world champion like Randy Orton, he's going to have to lose the WWE champion eventually. And I can see Drew McIntyre being at least a 4-time world champion. Shit. So like I said, in order for him to, you know, get all these world championships, he's going to have to lose. He can't keep this championship forever. It's eventually got to come to an end. And I feel as though Randy Orton could potentially be the man that bring it to an end. And Randy Orton is credible. Like, Randy Orton is the best thing going right now in the WWE. Or at least one of the best things going. You know, Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. Randy Orton, Monday Night Raw. Those two heels, if Randy Orton and Seth Rollins was to get together and have a program, that would be a drag-out brawl because, you know, we didn't see their history and the authority. You know, Randy Orton is really like a student versus a teacher as far as him and Seth Rollins. And for Randy Orton to, you know, come up and see Seth Rollins like this now, man, that would be a dominant, that would be one heck of a, you know, 5-star one-on-one match. So, as far as, you know, Randy Orton being the man that could potentially challenge Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, that would definitely have everybody's eyes tuned in, you know, to that SummerSlam main event. And I can actually see Randy Orton defeat Drew McIntyre. Like, I was discussing with my brother earlier that Randy Orton, if they do ever start this program up between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, you know, Randy Orton promos be, you know, classic. Like, you can pretty much put Randy Orton promos on like a montage and run them back, you know, keep playing them over and over again just to peep out the game that he be saying. And Randy Orton is actually a man that deliver. If Randy Orton say he gonna do something, he do it. And if he some type of way don't come through with, you know, his plan, you best to believe that whoever he had them plans for, he gonna come back on the back end and they gonna get what's owed to them. I can see Drew McIntyre trying to go for a Claymore kick and Randy Orton RKO that boy. Like, Randy Orton is the man that I could definitely see be the one that end Drew McIntyre first world championship run. And, you know, later on down the line, when Drew McIntyre, it's time for him to get another championship match, you know, get another championship under his, you know, under his name as far as the history books, he can get it back from Randy Orton. So more than likely at the SummerSlam pay-per-view, we could definitely, you know, expect to see Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, because that's more than likely, and that's the best program that I could potentially see as far as the SummerSlam main event. That pretty much, you know, fit the card. You know, like those other two superstars, Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, they are good options, but Randy Orton out of all three of these superstars is more than likely who WWE is going to go with. So, with that